press conference to celebrate the Just Cause Eviction Protection Bill getting passed out of the Housing Committee. And advancing to the next stage of the legislative process, my name is Luke Melanakos, Vice President, Connecticut Tenants Union. Connecticut Tenants Union, the Connecticut Fair Housing Center, Make the Road Connecticut, Greater Hartford Interfaith Action Alliance, the Connecticut Project, and dozens of other organizations, labor unions, advocacy organizations, membership organizations are lined up to support this bill because we all collectively recognize that it's time to take action to protect renters, to promote housing stability, to keep people housed, to prevent homelessness from continuing to go up, to reduce our eviction crisis, and to do it this year and not wait any longer. I want to acknowledge the legislators who are here with us today. We have Representative Menapace, Representative Candelaria, Representative Johnson, Representative Sweet, Representative Brown, Senator Gaston, Senator Marks. Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate you. And of course, Representative Felipe. Obviously. Thank you for that. Representative Felipe, of course. Thank you all for co-sponsoring, pushing for the bill. I also want to acknowledge Taita Anderson, who is here from the governor's office, just to say that we're grateful to have Governor Lamont on board as well. So without further ado, Representative Felipe.
It's a little crowded up here and it's a little cold, but I think that just means we mean what we say, right? It's funny, I was thinking about what I was going to say, and I was thinking about a hill that I used to go down in my neighborhood when I was a kid on my bike. It's called Hell Hill. It's the steepest hill ever. And you would go down, it was like a series of 3 different ones. It was pretty dangerous. You go out on a BMX bike. These are bikes that don't have any gears. They do have brakes, but you got to hit them pretty quick. And the problem was, going down was really fun. Getting down there was great. Going back up was a tough battle. And this has felt like an uphill battle for a long time. But then when I was 13 years old, my parents, and with a little bit of money that I put to the side from, mowing lawns, shoveling snow, got a mountain bike. And what I realized is, when you have an uphill battle and you have a mountain bike, all you have to do is kick it into another gear. And I see that you have all kicked it into another gear this year, haven't you? In 13, you also start learning, Isaac Newton's first law, and that's an object in motion stays in motion. And this looks like a movement to me. So this year, we got to look at it a little bit differently. We have to make sure that we keep banging the drum on affordability every single step of the way. But whenever somebody comes at you in these halls, right, I say this every single time I speak this year, don't let us make excuses for you as legislators. Don't let us tell you how you can't do something. Help us figure out how we can do something this year. And now, when you look at just cause eviction, how many times do we get in this building, and I'm looking at my legislator friends here, and they'll go, how much does it cost? And that's the roadblock. And it's how much it costs our state budget. It's how much strain it puts on us in the legislature. But this is just a way to relieve costs. The cost is on you. And we're sitting here and deciding that now we can make sure that we relieve cost burden for all of our residents, for all of our renters. How can you say no to that? Right. I don't think you can. Yeah. So this year, we're going to start in the Senate. I know when it gets down to the House, we'll do the right thing. We'll rock and roll. But just keep fighting and don't let us make excuses for you. This is the year to do it. We're in another gear. We are in motion. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Felipe. Representative Sweet, longtime friend of the Tenant Union. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I promise to keep this short and sweet. It is very cold. I am State Representative Lori Sweet. I proudly serve Hamden, and I'm the co-chair of the End Homelessness Caucus. And I just have a message. This is a tool to prevent homelessness. It's that simple. I have been with you all. I've been an advocate. I became a state rep so I could vote on this bill. And I think this is the year I know Senator Marks is going to get it through in the Senate, and then it's going to be up to us in the House. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for not giving up on this fight. We're with you.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Luke. I'll try to keep this short and sweet too. I haven't spoken out much on this issue, but after 4 years of serving on the Housing Committee and hearing testimony after testimony about why this matters, it made sense to me as someone who is an educator outside of the legislature and who has dealt with students who have faced homelessness and housing issues, why this matters. We already do this for 62 and over and the disabled. It's an issue of equity. We can and we must do this. It's imperative. It's about fairness. It's what's right, right? If we have a conscience on a day like this of all days, someone reminded me, if people are evicted and have to stand outside in this and live outside in this, we can take 10 minutes to stand outside to ring the bell and sound the alarm. So it's not an issue. It's an issue of time after time I've heard the problem is with the housing court. Let's solve that problem then. Let's solve that problem and actually attack the real issue. But the issue of keeping people in their homes is more important. So unless we want to continue this cycle, again, bringing it back to students who are going to go through this and then end up as a next generation who went without, and therefore it costs them the opportunities that they'd have in life. Unless we want to repeat this and keep this going, let's fix it. Let's solve it today. We have the will. Let's do it. Thank you.
Representative Candelaria.
Thank you. For me, it was important to be here today because this is a fight that has been going on for far too long. And you, all of you, brought it to our attention. You worked hard with us, and here we are today. And we are going to get it through the Senate and the House. That's what caught my attention. I got a call from one of my constituents telling me, Juan, a new person purchased our building. They came out of New York, an investor, paid $1,200. At the renewal, the rent was increased to $2,200. He had no other choice but to leave, and that needs to stop in this state. We cannot continue to do business in that manner because you all care. You are important, and you stretch every dollar to make ends meet at your home. That's the priority. We shouldn't be worrying about investors coming into our state and saying that they're going to increase rent. That doesn't need to happen anymore, and it will stop with this bill. Por eso que vamos a pasar esto. Porque se acabó el abuso de las personas. Tenemos que proteger a la familia y esta propuesta de ley va a asegurar que nos proteja a toda nuestra familia. Muchas gracias.
Representative Nolan, sorry. Thank you for joining us. Would you be willing to say a few words as well? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today you're here for one of the most important changes that we're going to make this year. And it's time. There's no more waiting. There's no more playing around. It's time to make the difference that we're here to make. Just cause is common sense. Full stop. If someone is going to be uprooted from their homes, there should be a clear and legitimate reason and understanding. But it should be by what this bill states it should be and nothing else. The policy does not stop evictions as people are going out there running their mouth saying. It does not stop evictions. It is, if a tenant is not paying rent, if they're violating their lease or putting the health and safety of others at risk, well, then the discussion can start. But that's not what's happening in our communities. I know it's not what's happening in New London. People are being put out just because people with deep pockets are coming in and buying up some of the properties and trying to shift that greed uh, onto those that are in the places that they're taken, and we have to put a stop to that. And that's what this bill is going to do. And we are going to stand strong. If we have to talk long, we're going to talk long. If we have to argue, we're going to argue. But we're here for you. And I know that I would be remiss if I just didn't thank the tenants union for the hard work that they are doing and continue to do. That ain't enough. Seeing them work and seeing them come out and hearing them in the phone calls, and I even had a couple come knock on my door. And that just tells you how deep that it is that we need to wake up and smell the coffee. It's time for change. And the only way to change it is to sign on to this bill and make sure it passes. Thank you.
I want to also acknowledge Representative Gauthier and Representative Belton, who joined us today. Thank you so much. Finally, Senator Marks, take us over.
Hi, everybody. Your apartment is your home. That's where you cook your meals. It's where your kids do their homework. It's where you have your family over for holidays. And all we are asking for is that you need to give cause to kick somebody out of their home, because that is what the landlords are doing. Just think of the word landlord. Look up where that word came from. There's a power struggle going on. And the landlords think they own you. They think that they can tell you what they do. There are people that sit on the housing committee that think having a roof over your head is not a right. Well, it is a right. And there are people sitting on the housing committee that think if the rent goes up a lot, well, you should just go get a better job and figure out how to pay for it. So we are not asking for anything radical here, are we? We are asking for a reason to take somebody out of their home. And if their landlords think it's just a business, then they better get into a different business, because things are going to change in Connecticut. We are going to get this passed. Now, you have all allies here. Everybody here is your ally. But we have to work on those legislators that are not our allies. They are talking to the landlords. And there are many a landlord in this legislature that are saying, oh, it's too hard to evict somebody. No, it's not. And guess what? It should be hard to evict somebody. It shouldn't be easy to evict somebody. So don't work on me. Don't work on all these representatives and senators standing here with you. But you need to go knock on the doors that those that are not going to say yes. And you need to tell them that there's a lot more renters that are going to be voting for them in November than there are landlords. It is election season, and let's make just cause one of the reasons why people get elected in November.
That's a wrap. Thank you all so much. We can get out of the cold unless there are any questions from the press.
Yeah, I was wondering for Representative Felipe or any of the legislators, what's kind of your diagnosis of why this bill has failed in previous sessions and what you think is different?
I'll briefly just say that when we have done this in the past, I think there's been less of a fervor from our legislative friends. I want to thank everybody who's come here with us today to kind of speak out and tell us why this is so important. But also, when there isn't the swath of us up here, they don't give us the same amount of time on the floor to take out these big bills. Last year we had 5002. I spent 20 accumulative hours on that in the House. So that plays a big role. When you have 20 hours for one bill, you don't really get 20 for another.
Gotcha. How does the governor coming out and saying he supports this proposal change the equation at all?
I think it makes sure that there's not going to be a 5002 situation, right? There'll be
Thank God!
no veto coming if we pass this bill. But I think it's also important that people have that peace of mind that the administration is looking at this the same way that we do.
Yeah. Can I say one thing to that? I also think that legislators, for some reason, anything that comes up with housing, they're afraid because of 169 Strong and all of the people against housing, where it's the number one word Governor Lamont said during his State of the State address. We all know it's one of the number one issues. So legislators are afraid. They don't understand it. You don't understand housing until you really sit on the housing committee and get housing 24/7. So I think they're afraid, and I think we really need our renters to go sit in their offices and tell them their stories.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right.
That was easy.
I think we should rename them to 169 Wrong, but that's just me.
Woo!